Autopax, the operator of Translux and City-to-City, says it will not be able to pay full salaries tomorrow. The state-owned company's over 1,000 employees will only receive half of their pay. The process subsidiary is not able to say when it'll be able to pay the balance. The South African Transport and Allied Workers Union spokesperson Zanele Sabele joins me now on the line. Thanks so much for your time. Let's start with Sitawu's reaction to this announcement.
Morning, Michael. Thank you very much for having us. Unfortunately, we have to say that we are not surprised. This issue of salaries has been going on for a while. So since early last year, the Autopax salaries were paid by PRASA itself because, Autopax is a subsidiary of PRASA. And until late last year in November, when the workers were actually expecting their salaries and their 13th check, and unfortunately, what had happened at that point is PRASA had gotten itself a new CFO, and the CFO put her foot down and said, this is wasteful expenditure, this can't happen, why are we paying another company's salaries? And so there was a wrangle, there were meetings all over, and eventually she wanted a paper trail, and it was provided, and they were paid their salaries, but not their bonuses. And so in December, again, there was that issue about bonuses. They were eventually paid, but they were paid out of Autopax's revenue. And so as it stands now, it would seem that Autopax is struggling. Autopax has been struggling for a while. But what we are more concerned about as a union, we haven't met the newly appointed CEO. And if he was to take, his cue from the administrator at PRASA, who obviously it's very apparent that the man didn't go on leave in December and now actually has a strategy on how to turn PRASA around, we are still waiting to hear what Diro has in store for the workers, because obviously he's an insider, he comes from PRASA, he knew that this organization that he's taking over has problems. So we're wondering what is his turnaround plan, when he's going to present it to us, because we know that executive management actually was working on a turnaround strategy in December. But then this was under when Kanisila Konyama and Ms. Dr. Sishi from PRASA, the chairperson and the CEO, were still at PRASA, but they have since gone. And now here we sit. So we're wondering if that strategy that senior management had been working on is the one that is going to be taken over by Diro. But we wouldn't know because he just hasn't taken the time to sit down with us.
Zanele, how did we get here? Does Sitawu believe people are just using less buses? Or is there corruption, fraud, and the mirroring of what happens at so many other state-owned entities?
It is the problem of state-owned companies, and the same here has happened in terms of, you see lax management, you see people just being, there's a revolving door in terms of the CEO, and this is effectively what has happened at Autopax, at Autopax, sorry. And so that's the problem. And another thing that was of concern some time ago, Autopax actually commissioned, was it Siemens, to do a turnaround strategy for them. That cost them 10 million. But when it came time to implement that turnaround strategy, they didn't implement it. They said they had lost the file. And this is concerning. 10 million is a lot of money. And so around there is when the problems really started to show.
They lost the file that cost taxpayers 10 million rand. It boggles the mind. In plans of industrial action, Zanele, or are you in talks with management?
First priority tomorrow. And the challenge with this particular notice is it came after hours on Friday. So I can't say that was an accident. They timed it just so everyone is at home by now and we couldn't quite respond. And so tomorrow it's first priority to deal with the situation, especially to find out exactly when they plan to pay the balance, the other half.
Zanele Sabele, spokesperson for the South African Trade and Allied Workers Union. Thanks so much for your time.